The signing of the EPA with the European Union is further delayed as CARICOM heads prepare to hold consultations on the way forward.
Government will go ahead with plans to expand the Ogle Airport and accommodating regional carriers.
And plans to privatize Lirapantir Cemetery are being finalized, with a local businessman already indicating an interest.
Business News eye on the judiciary health tips on the latest sporting action in the Diamond Mineral Water and NCN Sport News and more after these. Good evening, I am Janelle Prasad.
And I'm Paul Moore.
With this edition of the 6 o'clock news for today, Monday, August 25, 2008. Paul.
Thanks, Janelle. The signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union has been further delayed as CARICOM heads prepare to hold consultations on the way forward. This is the third time that the signing has been postponed, as Pamela Binder reports.
CARICOM Chairman and Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Baldwin Spencer, says the regional bloc could push back the signing of the EPA. He noted that a proposed postponement was directed through the CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Edwin Carrington, who alerted the regional heads of a special meeting slated for September 8. The first signing of the agreement was scheduled for July, after which September 2 was proposed. But in light of these consultations, it will now be further delayed. President Bharat Jagdeo said the agreement benefits the European Union and not the small countries. He has maintained that Guyana will not sign the agreement unless national consultations are held. Meanwhile, the Caribbean Policy Development Center has commended Guyana and other CARICOM countries that are reluctant to sign the deal with the EU. The CPDC urged the government not to be satisfied with a flawed and imperfect agreement, but to push for renegotiation to ensure that it has long-term benefits. Guyana, St. Lucia and Grenada have expressed reservations about signing the agreement, which seeks to replace all preferential trade arrangement with Europe. Reporting for NCN News, I am Pamela Binder.
Talks between Gao and Gaisuka are deadlocked, with arbitration the likely next step after the latest round failed to produce any agreement. This was relayed by Chief Labour Officer Mohammed Akil, who has been keeping abreast with the negotiations. The two sides have met thrice since workers from several estates proceeded on strike action for higher wages. Gaisuka had said it is unable to pay the percentage increase they are demanding. Well, government will go ahead with its plan to expand the Ogle Airport to accommodate regional carriers, and President Bharat Jagdeo says if public funds will be used for this purpose, more people must benefit. Edward Lane reports.
Works started last year to upgrade the Ogle Airport to regional standards so as to accommodate regional carriers currently using the Cheddi Jagan International Airport at Thumeri. However, works were stalled for some time, and President Bharat Jagdeo said this will be done at all costs.
We still plan to move the project forward. In fact, there is a bid out for extending the runway. We got a grant from the European Union, the Regional Indicative Program, of 1.5 million euros.
The president, however, notes that if government is to invest public funds which could have been used for other projects to upgrade the facility, more persons must benefit. Currently, 5 domestic aircraft services are operating from the facility, which the president says needs to be reviewed.
So we are now engaged in discussions as to how we can ensure that this money, quasi-public money, which comes for the benefit of all the people of the country, that 5 companies don't benefit from it, that all the people benefit. It could be either through higher lease payments, higher payments to the government, or alternatively through a change in the share structure of the company.
Meanwhile, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Edwin Carrington said in June that the facility will be critical in carrying out the Secretariat's functions. He noted that this will enhance the relations among Guyana, other CARICOM states, and Latin America. The facility, when completed, will accommodate flights from Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, among other countries. Already a state-of-the-art control tower, immigration and custom facilities have been constructed and staff trained earlier this year for efficient functioning of the facility. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The Caribbean Secondary Certificate Examination (CSEC) result slips have arrived 1 week after being released in Barbados. While the results for the General Certificate of Education (GC) and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations have been early released, Education Minister Sheikh Bashk had said the Caribbean Examinations Council has not performed efficiently in delivering the slips to Guyana. He also expressed disappointment and disclosed that a letter to this effect would be sent to regional body. The official results were released last week, Monday, electronically. The slips were sent to other Caribbean countries since last week. Caribbean writer Derek Walcott calls on regional governments to place on the development, Caribbean writer Derek Walcott calls on regional governments to place more emphasis on the development of culture as the region is being exploited by foreign investors under the guise of development. He made his call at the opening of the CARIFESTA 10 symposium yesterday at the Guyana International Convention Center, but was later slapped with a strong rebuttal by President Barra Jagdeo. Here are details.
The 1992 Nobel Prize for Literature recipient Derek Walcott called on CARICOM governments to strike a balance in an effort to avoid prostituting themselves to foreign investors. Walcott says investors should be encouraged to put money into the development of culture in the region so as to leave a lasting legacy.
You have to tell these investors, you can build your hotel, but we need a museum. We need a theater. So you build your hotel, but you're going to give us X amount of money so we can build a theater that your people in the hotels can come and look.
Walcott also called for stronger support of regional artists, particularly in providing more scholarships opportunities for younger artists. But President Barra Jagdeo, who declared the event open, said while there is need for more emphasis in this area, consideration must be given to the economic challenges facing the region.
But yet, in spite of all these urgent demands on our budget, we must find ways of supporting the arts and cultural productions. We are not creatures who merely eat, reproduce, and die. Artists take us to the threshold of hope, where we can begin to glimpse some meaning to our existence.
The opening of the symposium also saw presentations by literary giants Dr. Ian MacDonald, Professors David Dabedin, Kenneth Ramchand, Edward Baugh, and Cynthia MacLeod. On the topic, Caribbean culture at the crossroads, seeking the past, living the present, exploring the future. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Still on the 6 o'clock news, the Le Repentier Cemetery will be privatized shortly, with the financial aspect currently being finalized.
And Guyanese living in Brazil are requesting that a passport office be set up at Lethem so they can easily renew the document. Those are more when the 6 o'clock news returns. This is the NCN 6 o'clock news. The Mayor and City Council is in discussion with the local businessman on the privatization of Le Repentier Cemetery, and Deputy Mayor Robert Williams has disclosed that the financial aspect of the deal is currently being finalized. Here are details.
The issue of dumping decomposed bodies in the compound of Le Repentier Cemetery has been a long-standing issue, and despite numerous concerns being raised, the relevant authorities seem to have done nothing. And Deputy Mayor Robert Williams says the issue will soon be resolved. The council is in discussion with a local businessman who is willing to run the facility. He told NCN that most of the arrangements have already been made, with the financial aspect to be finalized. The arrangement will cover the restoration of the entire cemetery, which is in dire need of work. This would include fencing, cleaning, and general maintenance. The process of getting the storage facility at the cemetery up and running was stalled after the compressor for the refrigerator was stolen more than a year ago. The building to house the facility was completed 2 years ago, with just the electrical fitting to be installed. Reporting for the NCN 6 o'clock news, I'm Nicasio Logan.